Hi, and welcome to the American Heart Association's Kern County Block Party Digital Experience, presented by Adventist Health. I'm Melissa Carlson, your Chief Meteorologist and volunteer American Heart Association board member here in Kern County. I want to thank you for joining us here today for this special feature on heart health. We will touch on a few different topics today, starting with a general overview of being healthy. Then we'll talk about being physically active, reducing stress, and we'll even demonstrate a heart-healthy recipe. The information you hear today is for educational purposes only and should not be a substitute for professional medical advice. Now, according to the American Heart Association, heart disease and stroke are the #1 threats to our health. But there is good news. Up to 80% of heart disease and stroke can be prevented. We hope today provides you with some inspiration and tips about healthy lifestyle choices. And we encourage you to talk to your medical provider about heart and brain health and take any steps needed to reduce your risk so you can enjoy a long, productive, and healthy life. Now, let's kick things off with a conversation about heart health with Dr. Viral Mehta, a cardiologist in collaboration with Adventist Health. Let's dive right in now. Let's go ahead and start with, how does my heart affect my overall health?
Well, that's a very important question. So just to give you some idea, heart disease unfortunately still remains #1 killer of both men and women in the United States and even rest of the world. So recognizing and preventing heart disease early on is very critical for enjoying long and healthy life.
Well, and if someone were trying to assess their risk for heart disease and stroke, what would you recommend that they do?
Again, that's a very important question. So I think heart disease is also known as silent killer. So before one develops symptoms, unfortunately, a lot of valuable time has lost. So it starts with wellness check with the doctor's office and knowing about your personal numbers. So one needs to know about the family history. Has anybody died prematurely in the family with heart disease? Knowing some basic facts like your blood pressure, your weight, your cholesterol, your blood sugar. Are you eating healthy? Are you staying active? Things like that. So all these things, what we call life's simple 7, affect your overall wellness and health, and particularly, your risk of developing heart disease and stroke down the road.
And Doctor, one of the things that I do, as well as my husband, is every February we go and get our heart checkup, and just a checkup. And one of the things that's always interesting is we kind of have a joke about our cholesterol. And my husband actually, I shouldn't say actually, but he has better numbers than I do. So why is watching cholesterol numbers so important?
So what is cholesterol? So everybody talks about cholesterol. So cholesterol is a very important building block, of all the cells and some important hormones in the body. But when cholesterol flows in excess in the bloodstream, it can start getting deposited in our arteries. And it's like a fatty substance, waxy substance gets deposited in the walls of the arteries and causes hardening of the arteries, narrowing of the arteries, and is a major risk factor for heart attack and stroke. So knowing the cholesterol and keeping the cholesterol in the right range is very critical in preventing heart disease and stroke.
It definitely is. I agree with that. And obviously another thing that is a risk factor, Doctor, is diabetes. Talk a little bit about that. What are the risk factors for diabetes?
Correct. So diabetes is again, recognized as one of the major risk factors. And let me point out one thing, that a lot of these risk factors that lead to heart disease and stroke later on in the life, they're silent. One may not feel any symptoms. So like high blood pressure in the beginning has no symptoms. High cholesterol has no symptoms. High blood sugar levels in the early stages when somebody is what we call pre-diabetic or borderline diabetic has no symptoms. So it is important to check these numbers. So diabetes is a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Whenever there is an excess amount of blood sugar floating around, it starts causing damage to blood vessels, to heart vessels, kidneys, brain, eyes, your nerves. So that's why it's critical to know your blood sugar level and keep it in the right range.
So many numbers, of course, and a lot to keep track of. But if I'm trying to maintain my numbers within the healthy range, are there steps that I can take to do that?
Absolutely. So again, going back to the basics. So stay active. American Heart Association recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate activity every week. Staying active is very critical. Keep moving. Secondly, keep your weight in the right range, or avoid being overweight. Get your blood pressure under control. Keep your blood sugar under control. If you're smoking, quit smoking.
It sounds like easy steps, but we kind of have to take one by one. There's a lot of things to do. There really are.
Indeed.
Okay, any final words from you?
So clearly, I think heart disease and stroke appear, in the later stages of life, but certainly the disease process starts early on. So what I recommend is what we call an upstream strategy. Get your numbers in order. Sooner the better, but better late than never. So get the numbers, know your personalized risk, and even adolescents, teenagers, young adults should know their numbers, particularly if they have any family history of heart disease and stroke. So get a checkup, get a wellness checkup, get your weight, get your blood pressure, check your cholesterol, get your blood sugar. Don't smoke, eat healthy, and stay active.
All right, and the first step is to just pick up the phone and make that checkup. Dr. Viral Mehta, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
True or false? A normal blood pressure reading is considered 140/90.
Check this out. It's my you impression. Sitting there with no intentions of getting up. Pretty good, huh? But I'm not judging, because I'd probably be doing the same. And since the average American watches TV and streaming media for more than 4 hours per day, the American Heart Association made binge breaks. A cool and quick way to get off your booty. That's right, booty. So be ready. We might just make you want to move the next time you binge.
Can I get a little more from you? From you?
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut.
Type 2, take 2.
Action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose, to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself. To look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
Binge break number 1 coming right up. And it's exactly like it sounds. It's a break from binging, sitting, lounging, relaxing, not exercising. Ditch the popcorn, your phone, the blanket, and get on up. It's time for the warm-up sofa stretch. Let's get moving. Yes. And just so you know, the next time you see me, which may or may not be soon, we're totally breaking a sweat.
False. According to the American Heart Association, a normal blood pressure reading is considered 120/80.
Now we're going to talk about physical activity and heart health. And joining me now is Matt Eastwood. He is the Regional Vice President of Operations for PT Solutions Physical Therapy. Matt, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. The first question I have for you is physical activity important for our heart health?
Well, absolutely it is. There are benefits, obviously physical benefits, so better weight management, decreased blood pressure, decreased cholesterol, those things that are risk factors for heart disease. There are also mental or cognitive benefits that come along with that. So physical activity increases mental alertness. It decreases stress. It allows us better sleep quality. So physical activity is very good for things that prevent heart disease, but also for those, if you've been diagnosed with heart disease, it's also part of the ongoing treatment for the condition.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's a lot of confusion sometimes. How much do I need to exercise? So we could sit there and go on a treadmill for days. But what is the actual recommended amount of time we should exercise per week?
Yeah, a great question. And actually, interestingly, really only 1 in 5 of us gets enough exercise, or the recommended amount of exercise. And so that recommendation is 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise per week. And in addition to that, 2 days of resistance or strength weight training in that. And so if you're currently at 0 minutes per week, that seems daunting, but you're not alone. 80% of us are not getting the recommended amount. And so the key there, gradually increase your dosage of that. If you're at 0 today, you don't need to be at 150 next week. So working with your healthcare professional, your physician or physical therapist, they can help you set up a program that is tailored to you, where you can gradually increase your activity along the way. And so it's been said that sitting is the new smoking, and so important that you get up, as we spend all of this time in front of the computers, in front of our phones, to get up, move around a little bit is better than nothing at all.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think one of the biggest excuses, or what a lot of people use for an excuse, is that I just can't find the time. And for some people, I'm a working mom. I'm also obviously have a career. I have my husband. How do I go ahead and find the time to establish an exercise routine?
Sure. Well, obviously, you know, busy schedules abound here. So the key is to break that into chunks. So you hear 150 minutes per week. That doesn't all have to be done in one sitting. So break it into 20, 30-minute chunks. And so I tell people, instead of saying the words to yourself, instead of saying, I don't have the time, say it's not a priority. And so as you said, you have a career, and you know, you have a family that you have responsibilities for. We are much better to those people we are caring for if we're caring for ourselves first. And so make it a priority. I tell people to make that the first thing that you schedule in your weekly calendar. So when you open up your calendar and you see your week, put the days that you intend to exercise and the times, put it down on paper and schedule that into your schedule first, and move the other things around it. One other thing that's good is, with recreational activities, you're planning weekend activities, plan active activities as part of that. So make your physical activity and exercise part of your recreational activity, and you can sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
And that's true. Well, a lot of times we like to just go to the park, or we do things like that, and it all adds up. All of those steps add up, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And Matt, a lot of times, especially during quarantine, we've been in our houses. We have not been able to go out and about, and sometimes because of the weather, we can't walk around the block. So how do we establish an exercise routine in our house, really?
Yeah, great question. There are so many things we can't control. We certainly can't control the weather. So important to get creative with this. So for resistance training, you can use things, you can use milk jugs or soup cans as weights for you. Use the things you have around the house. So your stairs for aerobic exercise. I remember my mom used to dance in our living room for exercise. So if dancing's your thing, absolutely do that. Jump rope. Additionally, there are so many resources online, and so, of course, consulting with your healthcare professional, your physician, your physical therapist on what's appropriate. But you can find resources to find guided yoga classes, for example, or things that you can do with your own body weight that don't involve equipment, and you can do just in your home.
Alrighty, that sounds good. And I know sometimes I just go up against the couch and I'll be doing push-ups against walls and things like that. So we can use our own body weight for resistance for sure. Matt, Eastwood, thank you so much.
How many minutes of moderate exercise per week should most adults get?
I know you're saying, ugh, her again, but that's okay, because your heart is saying yes. Ready? Lunge 1. And 2. And 3. Nice. 4. And let's hold this one. Lunge. Hold. Imagine doing this every day. You'd literally be lunging into a healthier you.
We were all made for more. So in the fight against cancer, we deliver more. Learn why you can expect more in cancer expertise and safety.
Getting back to this, to her, to family, to friends, to hugs. For people at higher risk of COVID-19 complications because of diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart conditions, the COVID-19 vaccine is an important choice. Consider it's the first step towards getting back to what you miss so much safely. Getting back to life. Set your heart on it. It's up to you. A message from the American Heart Association.
All right, grab a chair or ottoman, a poof, or is it puff? Doesn't matter. Something stable you can dip with. All right, 1 dip, 2, 3, 4, nice, 5. Starting to feel it? Because I am. And I'm just an animation. Burning. Go ahead. We earned it.
According to the Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans, most adults need at least 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity, or a combination of both.
Now we're going to switch the focus to mental well-being and discuss the connection to heart health. I'd like to welcome Stacey Kuwahara, Director of Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, to get the conversation started. Hi, Stacey.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Certainly. We're going to start out with the basic question, and that is, what is mental health?
So mental health is all of our emotional, psychological, social well-being. It's everything about how we think, how we feel, how we behave. Mental health and mental illness are not quite the same. Somebody with poor mental health may not be diagnosed with a mental illness, and likewise, somebody with mental illness absolutely can achieve recovery and have long periods of mental well-being. So there are a lot of factors that contribute to our mental health: biology, genes, chemistry, our life experiences, certainly trauma, abuse, situational factors that we go through, and family history. So they absolutely coexist with our physical health, two really important components for just our overall well-being and our overall health.
So, Stacey, how would mental health and heart disease be linked?
Well, our mental health and our physical health are absolutely connected as just part of our entirety. Caring for our mental health and caring for our physical health is really much the same. We do all of the same things to care for both. How we manage our stress, making sure we're getting enough sleep, eating well, getting physical exercise, being connected socially, just taking care of yourself and taking your prescribed medications are all really important aspects of taking care of both our mental health and our physical health.
And during the pandemic, Stacey, obviously a lot of people have been thinking about mental health. How is mental health affected by COVID-19?
Oh, well, we know that the pandemic, the stay-at-home orders, all of the stress of COVID-19 has had a huge impact on all aspects of our lives. You know, social distancing is absolutely necessary for our health and safety. However, it absolutely increases isolation, our loneliness, is increasing stress, anxiety, depression. Many people have lost loved ones or had impacts. They've had COVID and it's affected their physical health. All of these things, the grief, the loneliness, 100% impact our mental health. So So it's all very normal. It's very normal that everybody's feeling more stress, anxiety, loneliness right now during this time, and it's really important to be paying attention to that and doing what we need to take care of ourselves and each other right now.
And during this pandemic, I have personally found physical activity to really help me out with my anxiety and just to put me in a better state of mind. So how can a person's well-being and physical health be impacted here by, obviously, exercise? How can your mental health be impacted?
Absolutely. Physical activity is so important for both our mental health and our physical health. Even a short amount of moderate exercise or activity helps reduce stress, helps relieve tension. It gives us more energy. It might help with sleeping better and can help improve our mood. We find that these are important things that help us treat if we're feeling depressed, if we're feeling anxious, or even just a little bit more stressed. Exercise really promotes all kinds of good changes in our brain. It helps release endorphins. It gives us a healthy distraction. And so just even a small amount of exercise on a regular basis absolutely helps us take care of our mental health and our physical bodies.
And Stacey, do you have any tips for people looking to manage their stress, both at home and at work?
Absolutely. It's really important that we take care of ourselves in all ways right now. Take care of your body through exercise, as we just talked, how we're eating, how we're sleeping, really just any kind of movement or activity that's going to help us feel good. Make sure that you are seeing your doctor and talking to your loved ones or your healthcare providers. Anybody that you go to for support, emotional support, is really, really important that you have that open dialogue and communication with them. Make sure that you're getting out socially in whatever ways you're able to do so. So even though we're social distancing, virtual connections, phone calls, outdoor walks with our families, any way that we can be together with others in safe, healthy ways is really important to do so. We encourage anybody to just find the things that are going to fill you up and take care of yourself right now and make them a part of your regular routine.
Did you have anything else you'd like to add, Stacey?
The only thing that I'd like to remind everybody is that if you are finding that you really need to reach out and talk to somebody, if you're worried about your mental health, somebody else's mental health, then I'd like to remind everybody of our crisis hotline is open and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that can be accessed at 1-800-991-5272.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much for joining us today, Stacey Kuwahara.
Thank you.
True or false? Staying active can help manage stress.
What would I do if I had more time?
Wow.
If I had more time, I'd call my grandma back. I miss her.
I'd go straight to the studio and dance my little heart out.
I would take up the guitar again because I have always wanted to be a rock star.
I would love to spend more time laughing.
I'd empower women to move.
I would do more of what I want to do and less of what I have to do.
If I had more time, I'd give it all to her.
If I had more time.
If I had more time.
If I had more time.
In 2008, at the age of 37, I suffered a heart attack. And I never saw it coming.
At 10, I was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy, and at 22, I had a heart transplant.
Thanks to research funded by the American Heart Association,
so many of us have been given more time.
More time with our families, more time with our dreams, and more time to accomplish the things that cardiovascular disease tried to take from us.
And we're not going anywhere.
Can I get a little more from you? From you. Can I get a little more from you? Can I get a little more from you?
Wait. Put down your phone. This is just a little cool down stretch. Fine, you can use it like this. But before I go, I just wanted to say you're awesome. Believe it or not, you're about 90 seconds more active than you were before, and your heart totally noticed. Yeah, the workouts are done, but you don't have to be. Visit heart.org/make-moves to learn more about how you and your heart can keep moving.
Exercise can relieve mental and physical tension. Find something you think is fun and stick with it.
It's time for a heart-healthy cooking demo, and I think you'll agree this recipe looks delicious and easy to prepare. Here to make the American Heart Association's Rosemary Balsamic roasted vegetables, please welcome Serena Castillo from the Edible Schoolyard, Kern County, a program of the Grimm Family Education Foundation. Take it away, Serena.
Hello, my name is Serena Castillo. I am an educator for Kern Edible Schoolyard, a program of Grimm Education Foundation. We are excited to partner with American Heart Association of Kern County to promote health and wellness in the community. Today we will be making rosemary balsamic roasted vegetables. Simple recipe that you can have any time of the week. So to get started, you will need a large mixing bowl. We will be adding some sweet potatoes and turnips, along with some Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, carrots, and beets. Everything goes in the bowl. And then we will make a little vinaigrette to drizzle over it. So to make the vinaigrette, we will start with some Buena Vista olive oil and balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper for flavor, and then we will be using some rosemary, garlic, again for flavor, not just flavor, it's also good for your heart, and then we have some onion powder. And to balance out all of the flavors, we will be adding some stevia, so just any non-calorie sugar will work in this recipe. And then just give it a good little whisk so everything comes together nicely. And then once you have that mixed, we are going to drizzle it over our vegetables. And make sure we get everything nicely coated. And we will be using the oven, so you want to make sure you preheat your oven. I want to say 375, 400, just you want it at a high heat so that it will get a nice roast, caramelized edges. And then we will be roasting it, depending on your oven, but I would say 25 to 30 minutes. So now that is all coated with our vinaigrette. You want a baking sheet, and you are just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil just so your vegetables don't stick to the baking sheet. So once you have that, everything is going into the baking sheet. Oops. Spread it. And then in the oven it goes. A simple recipe that will come together in no time for your busy weekday meals. And the final product is right here. Here you have it. Some rosemary balsamic roasted vegetables to add to your weekly menu.
We appreciate everyone who joined us today for the Kern County Block Party Digital Experience presented by Adventist Health. I would like to thank Dr. Varel Mehta, Matt Eastwood, Stacy Kuahara, and Serena Castillo for their information and insight into improving heart and brain health. The American Heart Association and Adventist Health Bakersfield will soon be offering a free 12-week program for faith-based organizations in our community to help raise awareness of heart disease and stroke and provide support to individuals interested in making lifestyle changes. If you would like more information about that program called Empowered to Serve, please visit heart.org/Kern County. The American Heart Association has an incredible number of resources available to the community, and to learn more about healthy living and cardiovascular disease, visit their website, heart.org. And to find healthy recipes and cooking tips, visit recipes.heart.org. Up to 80% of heart disease and stroke can be prevented. We encourage you to talk to your medical provider about any steps you can take to reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease and enjoy a long and productive life. Stay healthy, Kern County.